Hello, my name is Cheryl Schaefer. Welcome to another program in the Veterans Helping Veterans TV series. Today's show is Vet Tech. What is that, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you in just a moment. But first of all, I'd like to introduce my guest, Chief Executive Officer Bow Rodgers from Vet Tech, Lydia Davey, CEO of and founder of Moriah Creative, and Ryan Micheletti of Portal. So,
that's right.
Chief Financial Officer of Portal. So, Bo, can you tell us what Vet Tech does to help veterans start their own business?
Thanks, Cheryl. Vet Tech is an exciting platform that finds, fixes, and funds veteran-led and veteran-involved high-tech companies. So we're looking for bright, young, energetic veterans who are coming out of the military, who have been out of the military. They have a great idea. They need the Ghostbusters. They want, who are you going to call? It's Vet Tech. And we will help fund those companies, we'll help fix those companies, and we'll help get them on the track to be successful.
Well, you have two representatives right here.
We do.
So let's talk to Lydia about what your company is about. But first, before we get into that, tell me a little bit about your military background.
So I joined the Marine Corps in 2003 and served as a combat correspondent. I worked in Asia, Africa, and Europe, did a deployment to Afghanistan, and had 8 great years with the Marine Corps.
So what made you get out of the Marine Corps?
Well, I actually wanted to go back to college. I was enlisted. I'd had some college before, and I knew that I needed to focus on that. I wanted to do it before I was 30, and I did.
So, and you went to college on the GI Bill?
Yes, I sure did.
Very good. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your company and what Moriah is all about.
So basically what I'm doing is building a platform to crowdsource marketing and public relations services for small businesses. And a small business can come to me and fill out a project brief, and then have, depending on their goals, whether it's getting more traffic in the door or launching a new product or opening a new location, they'll have freelancers and small PR firms bidding on that work.
Very good. Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about your military background and
Sure.
a little bit about Portal?
Of course. So I'm a Sergeant E5 in the Reserve still serving. I'm with the Emergency Communication and Search and Rescue Unit with the California Guard. Portal is sort of a project that I'm working on with several other veterans and a CEO of the space. Imagine walking into Starbucks and automatically having the Starbucks app pop up on your phone. No searching, no downloading, nothing that you need to do. It just automatically surfaces. What we're trying to do is bridge the digital and physical worlds together so that you can have a seamless experience where you can search for information. That could be special deals, it could be information about restaurants, businesses around you. But essentially, the core of what we're trying to do is produce a contextual experience through your smartphone.
Explain to me what that word contextual means.
So contextual is basically what are you doing and when. So if you're at Starbucks, obviously that's part of the context, but what time are you at Starbucks? Are you there during lunchtime? Are you at an office space near Starbucks? So what essentially we're building is character profiles, customer profiles, where a business can tap into different information pertaining to a user's specific location. So if I wanted to reach out to individuals that are hungry, it's probably around lunchtime, I can send out a special to those people using Portal's platform.
Very good. And so how did Vet Tech help these companies form?
Well, these are bright young people with great ideas, but ideas don't make money. Companies and products and services make money. And there is a formula. Sometimes a graybeard like me who has been involved in starting up companies and seeing successes and seeing failures learns lessons that he or she can impart to these companies. And the key for them is what's the problem they're really solving? And what is their secret sauce? What is their solution that is so unique that it could get fundable? And then putting a business model together to show investors and others how they can make money doing this. And once we work with these companies, in the case of Moriah Creatives, in the case of Portal with Ryan, these are good ideas which are being turned into business models, can be presented to investors, and now the investor sees how that turns into a business opportunity for them. And the key, and I really, this is kind of an editorial comment, know that this is the best way for America to create jobs.
Because really, that is really the issue here, is there's a big push in our nation for small businesses to be created by veterans so they can put other veterans to work. I mean, the whole idea is we can't depend on the major corporations to have the job growth when in actuality it's the small businesses that create the job growth. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So that's the whole idea, is you create a business and you put people to work. That's what you're doing in essence.
It is, but and it's a key part of putting people to work, but I think even a greater thing is building a company that can put many people to work. But not just finding people that you can put to work, creating something that improves people's lives. It improves the way a small business can get social media and get itself started, to where someone can go to a restaurant and go to a Starbucks or other places and learn about the products and services in an elegant, mobile way. And those are the kinds of things which have great opportunity, not just getting the person to work, but certainly that job is a benefit to somebody.
How long have you been in business, basically? Did you just start 6 months ago or a couple of
So the idea kind of came about last March. I'd been planning to launch my own PR firm, which I've since done, but a mentor of mine who's also a Marine veteran really challenged me to grow the idea much bigger and to not stay in the Midwest and move to a place where there's kind of this energetic ecosystem that embraces big success and big failure. And so I really thought, what would I do if I couldn't fail? And I would provide the service, the good service that I knew I was going to be able to give my clients, and extend that to the nation. And that's kind of how the idea came about.
And you gave yourself permission to be great.
I sure did.
And see, you know, that's very interesting that you say that, because, you know, a lot of people always say, well, I can't do that. And they limit themselves before they even get out the front door. And what we're trying to do is empower the veterans and show them that if Lydia can do it, well, there's no reason why another Marine getting out of the service in the next week or two, they can't do it too. So how would you persuade another Marine just getting out of the service, you know what? Give it a shot and try it. Start your own business.
Well, I would say, like, Marines in particular, although I'm not trying to diminish anyone else, I would say Marines in particular are familiar with fear and discomfort. And, like, fear is something to be walked through and not to control you. And so we already have so many tools, so many of the intangible qualities that will set us up for success. And so I think it's really just about, if you've got a great idea, start forming relationships, and then start doing the really uncomfortable work of asking for help, which is something that veterans, you know, struggle with at times. Start asking for help and start doing things that really push your sense of possibility and comfort. And before you know it, the things that were huge barriers to you 3 months ago don't even feel like challenges today. And so when you embrace growth, you grow. So.
And really, that is true. And also, it's the networking. I mean, networking is key. In fact, that's kind of a segue into me talking to Ryan a little bit, because I actually met him at a Vets in Tech presentation at Facebook. And so he made his presentation. I went up to him afterwards and said, you know what, we need to talk. Because I believe in the power of what you're doing. It's the only, we cannot, and I'm getting editorial here, we cannot depend on the government to take care of us. I mean, you know, we see what's happening right now. So Ryan, tell me, what compelled you to start your own business, and how did you come up with that great idea?
Sure. Actually, it kind of piggybacks on what Lydia was saying. It all comes down to getting out of the house and moving things forward. So I had actually met the CEO of the company now, probably about a little over a year and a half ago. and we were talking about just the mobile space in general and high-tech startups. And so that's sort of where the idea was born. We discovered that there was a kind of niche in the market of having a fluid mobile experience where you don't have to search through your phone to find the data you need. It should just kind of naturally be presented to you in an organic way. So that's how the idea came about. You got to get out of the house and you actually have to get your boots on the ground and start executing. Fortunately, one of the great things about military veterans is that they know how to execute. You give them a command, they'll do it. And so when you hear CEOs and venture capitalists say that 90% of any startup is done by execution, not necessarily by the great idea, I think that puts military veterans at a huge advantage, because if they have the right mentorship and if they're pointed in the right direction, which I think VetTech has done tremendously for about 30 different veteran-led startup companies, you point them in a direction, you tell them where to go, and they'll go and climb that mountain and get it done.
And let's talk, Bo, a little bit about VetTech, because you're a 501c3 nonprofit. So how long ago did you start VetTech? What compelled you to start a nonprofit to help veterans?
Well, I'll make this a brief story. I was in Vietnam. I came home. The mood of the country was far different than it is today. Today, it's thank you for your service. Veterans, military, please come to the head of the line at the airport. And I think this is a complete mood shift and a change shift. And when it comes to now the country knowing it needs to build jobs, it's the job stupid. When people know that they've got this great talent pool, people that can execute, people that know how to get things done, I think if you can't find an engine to do it, then we're not America. We're not the country that can do. And consequently, VetTech is in a position, fortunately in Silicon Valley, we have access to money, we have access to competitors. There is a line in Silicon Valley, if you're going to fail, fail fast. And if you do that, you're going to spend less money. But because they're resilient, and military people are resilient, you're going to make a pivot, you're going to turn your company, and you're going to go in a better direction. And that's exactly the kind of thing that goes on. And I really challenge these two folks, and I probably know the answer, is this the most fun you've had in your life?
It is.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go. It's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride, because really you don't know who you're going to meet at the next event that you go to. And you might meet just the perfect partner that says, you know what, that's a fantastic idea. So 30 or 40 companies you've helped to get off the ground?
Yes, right now we have approximately 30 companies, and because we're in Silicon Valley looks at things insofar as industry sectors. And by that I mean, is it mobile applications? Is it social media? Is it crowdsourcing? Is it internet-related IT? Is it health tech? Is it financial technology? Is it big data? And we've got companies, frankly, in each of those categories, which are very compelling, and it gives us a breadth of companies to show to investors that might say, that's our particular niche. We came through a company that likes that, like eBay. We'd like to find other eBay-like companies. And in fact, we have a company that is very much like eBay for the military. They're doing very, very well. And I think these are the kinds of opportunities we can take back to civilian commercial businesses, and they can say, wow, you're unlocking the door to the military world to me. You're unlocking the door to young people to me that I think are really mind-changing, social-changing people. So it's a real leverage point, a motivator to get that going.
I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I never even heard of VetTech until I was at Facebook and Ryan made his presentation. I said, wow.
Well, that's what this event helps. We can get it out in front of a lot of people. Then give us a call. Go to our website at vet-tech.us. Tune in to see what we've got, and maybe we can help them.
And now you're at Plug and Play, so let's talk a little bit about Plug and Play and what that is.
Plug and Play is an accelerator, and I'll only use the vernacular people have heard of incubators and accelerators. An incubator is a location where entrepreneurs can go socially connect with other entrepreneurs, and they're mostly on their own. An accelerator adds the ingredients of a graybeard or an entrepreneur or somebody who started companies, had successful exits, law firms, CPAs, financial people. And what I like a lot about accelerators is just the raw energy, because you've got the walls and you hear over the wall, hey, I just got $1 million, our company got funded, and there's a tremendous amount of zeal that goes on with an accelerator. Plug and Play, in my opinion, in Sunnyvale, is in approximately 80,000 square feet, runs from 250 to 300 plus startups, international in scope, a variety of internet-related technologies in a complete breadth of areas, and it provides that accelerator that I don't think there's that experience anyplace else.
I would agree with you, and I'm really excited about the opportunities that PMP offers our veteran entrepreneurs because, you know, it's up to you guys to figure it out so make it better for everybody. So what else would you like to say about your military experience in the Marine Corps? What did you think about that?
I have so many thoughts. Time of the Marine Corps. It was really tough, obviously.
Because, see, Ryan talked a little bit about this earlier, the value of a veteran, whether you're starting your own business or just the value of a veteran as a job seeker, what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I think what we do really well is we know how to work as part of a team. We know how to take direction. And we know how to give direction too. And so I think all of those things make us great at whether it's startups or being an employer or being an employee.
And I want to add something to what you were saying earlier. You'd mentioned fear. At some point, especially if you take the entrepreneurial route, you have to take that leap of faith. You have to just hope for the best and plan for the worst, and that's something that veterans definitely do. You, for instance, you moved out to Silicon Valley because that's where things are happening. That's where you knew you could get your business off the ground. You know, the old saying, if you want to be an actor, you should move to LA. Well, if you want to do a startup, you should also move to Silicon Valley. You should get something going over here, or at least have connections over here that could potentially help your business.
The only thing I'd add to that, which is I really want to follow what they're saying is true, is VetTech is really, while we're in Silicon Valley headquartered here, we have a presence in Austin, Texas, which we think is a wonderful entrepreneurial area. We have a presence we're working on in Chicago. We have a presence inside I-495, the Beltway, and if they unlock the vaults, we'll get business going back there as well. So for any veterans that are watching this program or tuned in, you don't have to be in Silicon Valley. You don't have to be in California. We open our doors and welcome you with a good idea, a good high-tech idea. Get in touch with us. We'll find a way to connect and see how we can help.
So what are some of the names of the companies that you've helped that we would recognize?
Well, these are early-stage companies, so it isn't like we have PayPal yet, et cetera.
But you had PayPal. I mean, didn't PayPal start at PNP?
Are we talking about Plug and Play or VetTech?
I'm sorry. You're right. Plug and Play, and I got confused. So
okay.
VetTech.
Okay. And certainly to credit Plug and Play, PayPal and other companies like that have done very, very well. With regard to our company, we have a company called Call Dibs, which I think you're going to hear more about. And this is an idea that really is a play on the eBay concept. We've got a company called Clean Wafer, which has found a way to really improve the way silicon for both solar and for computer chips is going to be made. We've got several other companies, one called Critical Intelligence, which I think is going to be a very, very good cybersecurity company. And so that breadth of companies we have, those are names. You can listen to them, and I think you're going to hear more about them in the future.
That's great. So, I mean, the whole idea of the show is to encourage veterans to take that leap of faith and to believe that you can do whatever it is you set your mind to do.
And I think part of the value of VetTech is mentorship, because that's so important too. It's really not about just, you know, like muscling your way through. Yeah. I mean, relationships are key to this. I'm rapidly finding out, and I feel really lucky to be plugged into the kind of experience and advice and accessibility that I've gotten so far with VetTech. So I feel really lucky.
Thank you.
Yeah, to be associated.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Ryan, did you want to say something?
Yeah. I guess in addition to what we're talking about in terms of, you know, what veterans should look to do when they're either thinking about leaving the military or have left the military, one thing that Lydia's done well is that she's picked a business that she's familiar with and that she's already has some experience in. So really take some time and figure out what you're passionate about. You don't want to be stuck in a job that you don't like doing, because essentially you're just wasting time. If you're trying to chase the money, doing something you hate, you basically hate your life, and there's no point in doing that. So definitely follow your passions, and hopefully your passions align with what you're good at. And so at the end of the day, it comes down to following your heart, but also being realistic about the expectations. And part of what we were talking about also is that you do need sort of a gray beard or a mentor to bounce these ideas off of. Some of the companies that VetTech has helped, they have this kind of dreamy picture of what they think the Silicon Valley landscape is going to be like. Oh, I'm just going to move there and make, raise $5 million from a venture capitalist and, to have a $100 million exit. But there's it's part art, but it's also part science. And what we can do is provide the mentorship to be able to kind of reel in the expectations and give them some concrete and hopefully positive feedback about their business.
I'd echo what Ryan says, but I'd add also, and I know this is a plug for VetTech, but it really is to help veterans.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's a very honorable and noble thing, is that VetTech really looks at each person's company and each person individually. So it isn't just platitudes about this is what companies can do and this is a success model. It's about your model. It's about how you're going to get it done. It's about your capabilities to do that and defining that. And I think once the person sees this is about me and my company, it takes on a whole different mentorship relationship. And I think that's very key because every company is different. It's not a cookie cutter. And I think that's a key to unlocking success of each of these companies.
It takes some tough love. I mean, there's been times where Bo and Chris and the rest of the team, they kind of give you a big reality check, and it's not, obviously to diminish your dream or try and damper what you're trying to do. It's trying to give you a realistic expectation because you need some expertise on your side, and in order to do that, I think that VetTech's a pretty good vehicle for that.
Because you really bring up a good point. Sometimes people become so emotionally involved in their business or their idea or their concept or whatever that they cannot see straight, because they're so emotionally wrapped up. So it is excellent to have a reality check because you have an idea, you have a concept, but how do you turn that into a business? And it is a business. And see, part of what I'm learning is I have to take the emotion out of it and continue to look at it as a business.
Well, there's a term, whether Donald Trump used it or other people, when somebody gets fired, it said, look, it's just business, okay? So there is a component that is numbers, that is quantifiable, and I really believe for entrepreneurs, you can't manage what you can't measure. And so one of the key mentoring steps is whatever your milestones are, if it's to get your beta model up and running, if it's to get a Keystone or a Lighthouse deal, if it's to get funding, have some metrics, have some measurements of actually how you get there. Then each time you have a meeting, et cetera, you go and find out how you're moving towards that objective. And that's what the military is good at, setting objectives, setting milestones, accomplishing those objectives. I think that's a wonderful background. And from the standpoint of an entrepreneur, it's exactly the same. You can't manage what you can't measure. Set your metrics, set your milestones, and by gosh, your dream might come true.
Well, I think you just pretty much gave everybody a very simple business plan, goals to achieve. I mean, you just pretty much laid it out to everyone. So, continuing the outreach to veterans to encourage them, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can. So let's continue that conversation. Continue it. Persuade more of them to come out and say, okay, take that chance to start your own business. Because really, I know I said this earlier in the program, there's a huge push in our nation to put as many veterans, really anybody, but especially veterans. So many of them are coming back from this long war we've had for over 10 years. There aren't enough jobs, so put them in business.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think today it's the barrier to entry to actually build and create a business is much lower than it used to be. I mean, what previously would take $5 million to do to build a hardware company building microchips can now be done, well, not necessarily the same business, but you can start a business for less than $50,000. There's plenty of examples of people bootstrapping their business and not even having to take on any external funding and having a nice exit at the end if that's your goal. So I think what VetTech focuses on are the high-tech, high-growth companies, not specifically one-off small businesses that would be a restaurant or something along the lines of that, because it's a different formula. The formula for a high-tech business, in order to actually attract the funding that it needs to ramp up, is that it needs to be innovative, it has to be in and around technology. And fortunately, our Army is getting essentially smarter and using more technology. So people are growing up with the Facebooks or the Instagrams, and they're naturally able to use it. And that's a huge advantage when it comes down to starting your own business.
And technology is the key. And what did you want to say, Lydia?
Well, I think this kind of bounces off of what Ryan was saying. Technology is a key, and again, like, so is the human connection. And I just want to say that the relationships that I've formed with, you know, my veteran peers have been really valuable too. I have done some volunteer work through Team Rubicon, which is a national veterans disaster relief organization, and just met incredible people who I've continued to, you know, reference and ask for help and bounce ideas off of, and so, you know, there's a community out there of young invested veterans, and we have a real benefit when we get to tap into a more experienced set, if you will, of veterans. But there's also a certain energy that you know, you find in your veteran peers, and a sense of going through the same experience.
It's all about networking. We'd like to invite you to check out VetTech online. Please contact them by email or go ahead and call direct to answer any questions, because we really do want to help you start your own business. Thank you for watching another episode of Veterans Helping Veterans TV, and I'm so glad you turned that light off.